Krishna Krishna. Welcome everyone. So let me make some adjustments so I don't have funny looking ears. Okay, no more funny ears. Today we're starting a new series, and this is called the Spontaneous Series, which means the day before or that morning, I am meditating on something, and then we talk about it. And maybe something that I think you all need to hear, or something I've spoken about that needs more elaboration upon, or something that just comes up that I think is of interest or even of necessity. And I think today's class is of necessity. And today's class is entitled, you will be happy to hear, You Are a Pure Devotee. And that means you, like the ones I'm looking at, and the ones I'm not seeing on Facebook, also you. You're also pure devotees. You probably didn't know that, but today you have found out the good news that you are a pure devotee. And the purpose of today's class is to prove that to you. Now, my request is, please allow me to prove it to you. Because I know some of you, even I prove something, you deny it. You don't want to admit. So please allow me to prove to you that you're a pure devotee. So you have two, we have two extremes. One is, yeah, I know I'm a pure devotee. You don't have to tell me. And the other extreme is, I'll never be a pure devotee. It's not possible. You'll never convince me. So anyway, that's what class is about. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Nasti Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesa Sundari Paschati. So I have a document to prove my case of how it is you're all pure devotees. So we're going to bring up that document because sure to provide my evidence, because some of you will need lots of evidence. Okay, so now this is, we begin with a statement. This is, first statement is, can you see that? Is it big enough? Not it bigger. Bigger is better. I have to. Okay, we see that. I have to move my screen of all of you out of the way. Okay. So this first statement is not from Shastra, it's a statement that I made the other day. Prabhupada saw us as we could become in our potential as pure devotees, not as fallen, conditioned souls. He treated us as pure devotees and we fit into the shoes, so to speak. So people, there's two levels. One is, I want to establish in a philosophical way that we are pure devotees, at least in a potential form, if not in an actual form. And so both things are stated in Shastra, that we are pure devotees and we are potentially or in a pure state, which it's the same thing, more or less. You are Olympic gold medalist, and you're like 13, well, you're too young, but you are going to be one, we can tell. You're so talented. Nobody can compete with you. So it's something like that. But it's amazing if you read Prabhupada's letters where he's talking to very young devotees and saying, I have great confidence in you and great confidence that you will be successful. And that confidence was because he saw their sincerity and he saw their motives were pure. And therefore, he actually defined them as pure devotees. And we're going to read the letters soon. So the other day in class, I said that Prabhupada sees us in our potential. And we tend to see ourselves as who we are right now, or worse, even worse than we are right now. So I have always suggested, why don't we see ourselves in the potential that Prabhupada saw us? Why don't we see ourselves as the pure devotee who Prabhupada saw us to be? Wouldn't that be better? I think it would be. Of course, we don't want to become proud, and that's not, as I said, and I think on Friday, if you're not proud, it takes a lot to make you proud. And if you're proud, it takes very little to make you proud, isn't it? There's a lot of very famous people who are very humble and a lot of losers who are very proud, isn't it? So, it's not, say, well, if you tell me I'm a pure devotee, then I'll become proud. That's not going to be the reason you're going to become proud. The reason you're going to become proud is not the verb become, it's because you already are. So it's not going to make you any worse. It'll just make it come out worse. That's true, but it's not going to make you any more proud. It may come out worse. But if you're not proud, then it's not going to make you proud if you're not. It's just the way it works. But aside from that point, we're talking a little more here philosophically. So the way in which you deal with somebody can be very inspiring if you see them in their potential, because you'll be encouraging them to fulfill that potential, right? You can do this. I know you can. So you have this, you're behind somebody and they're doubting themselves, but you're behind them, and then they become successful. So Prabhupada was like that with us. He wasn't making us feel like we're useless, fallen souls who could never be Krishna conscious, who could never do anything. It was quite the opposite. He was telling us we're pure devotees and telling us we can spread Krishna consciousness around the world and we can go back to God in this lifetime. That's what he was telling us. So it's like a prophecy. And when the person's telling you these things, you kind of just subconsciously become what you're being told to become. It's like, yeah, this is what you are. You're like, okay. So, so then you just do it. So we should treat ourselves, I would say, we should see ourselves the way Prabhupada saw us, the way your spiritual master sees you, in terms of your potential, in terms of who you are as a pure spirit soul. See ourselves that way, our potential to be pure devotees, and also see ourselves as the pure devotees Prabhupada saw us. So we have some shlokas, purports, and letters to establish this. Are you ready? Shall we take off? Okay, so this is the verse that establishes that we are all Krishna conscious. Or as Prabhupada said, everyone is my disciple. Some know it and some don't know it yet. So we're all pure devotees. Some know it, some don't know it. Nitya, this is Madhya Lila 22:107. Nitya Shidha Krishna Prema Shadya Kabunoi Shavanadi Shuddha Chite Koroya Udoy. Translation. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of all living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. So for those who say, I can never be Krishna conscious, this verse proves you wrong. No, you might say, it feels like I can never uncover the Krishna consciousness that I already am. Okay, you might feel that way, but you can't say Krishna consciousness is something you are not. Essentially, you are. That's who you are, essentially. So don't ever say you're not Krishna conscious, because that's not our Siddhanta. Hear and chant to revive it. So the point of this verse, and many things that Prabhupada said, is that Krishna consciousness is not an quote unquote artificial imposition. It's already who you are. You know, it feels like an artificial imposition sometimes, right? But always remember, it's not an artificial imposition. It's who you are. And it's an inspiring thought. We're not trying, you don't have to achieve something which is impossible. You don't have to achieve something which is external to you. You already are Krishna conscious. You don't have to create it. It's who you are. You just have to awaken it. Hey, hello, wake up. It's time, Sleeping soul, Jiv Jago, let's wake up. When you wake up to Krishna consciousness. You don't have to create it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to wake it up, move the dirt, move the rust off the diamonds, so to speak, the clouds from the sun, and all of a sudden, there it is. It was always there. Who would have guessed? Okay. So, if you say I can never be Krishna conscious, all I can say is you are 100% wrong, absolutely wrong. At least by view of Siddhanta, you are 100% wrong. So I took some things from lectures just on this point, very simple points, but I just wanted to make the points again a few times, just in case your mind's going, yeah, but. Okay, so this is for all the yeah, buts in the audience. So love of Godhead is already there within each of us because we are part and parcel of him. But that love is now covered by lust due to material association. When a mirror is covered by dust, you cannot see yourself reflected in it. But after you polish it, you see your face clearly. Similarly, the process of bhakti yoga polishes the mirror of your heart. And when it is nicely polished, you will see what you are and how you should work so that you will be happy. Everything will be revealed. So everything being revealed, not implanted. That's the word revealed. Prabhupada's not saying everything will be implanted from the outside. No. He's saying everything is already inside as you are a spirit soul. It will be revealed. After you get the dust off the mirror, I can't see myself. Clean the mirror, and now I can see myself. And when you see yourself, you're going to go, wow, you're amazing. Krishna describes Ascharyavat, soul is amazing. So when you actually see yourself, you're going to think, instead of thinking, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too old, I'm too young, you're just going to think, wow, you are amazing. Spirit, soul, you are amazing. I can't even describe you. You're so amazing. Okay, this is from another lecture. You know that verse in the Gita? Some say the soul is amazing. Some talk about him as amazing. Some try to describe him as amazing, but they all give up because they can't figure him out. So that's you they're talking about. You are amazing. Okay, tomorrow morning when you get up and look in the mirror to brush your teeth, before you brush your teeth, you have to say, you are amazing. That's Shastra, that's Siddhanta. That's beyond any kind of self-esteem issue. It has nothing to do with mind. It's you as soul. You're amazing. Now, some of you are thinking, yeah, all sounds good, but probably my soul is not amazing. Probably I have one of those dark souls, right? Like Krishna, it's like a lemon. They make cars, they have lemons, everything goes wrong with them. Like if you get a Japanese car, you can drive it like every day for the next 80 years and nothing goes wrong. But sometimes you get a lemon and it's like everything goes wrong all the time. So some of you out there may be thinking, yeah, my soul is a lemon, it's actually not amazing. Yeah, if you think like that, next time I see you, I'm going to knock some sense into you. That's like, don't think like that. That is not how Prabhupada wants you to think. Okay, well, I'll try to knock some sense into you today with my words. This is, actually Prabhupada's words. This is from a lecture. And I don't know the lectures. I only know that it's in this book called Quest for Enlightenment. A lump of gold is gold, though it may be covered with dirt. It simply has to be cleansed. Then it becomes pure gold. Similarly, everyone is Krishna conscious. Just in case you don't realize it, you're included with everyone. Just as long as some of you think maybe you're not included with everyone, you're uniquely deficient or something. Similarly, everyone is Krishna conscious, but on account of association with matter, people think they are something different from Krishna. Because everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. Everyone has his qualities in minute degree. You are amazing. You have Krishna's qualities in minute degree, but it's, minute quality of Krishna, I'll take it. It's just fine. Even if it's minute, it's okay. Just as a speck of gold has the qualities of the vast mass of gold in the gold mine, or as a drop of seawater contains the same ingredients as the great ocean. The difference between Krishna and us is that he is the great unlimited spiritual being, and we are infinitesimal particles of spirit. Still, you are amazing. Okay, this is our Siddhanta, ladies and gentlemen. Our Siddhanta is, you are a divine being. You have the qualities of Krishna, 78% to be exact. Okay, this is from a book called Dialectic Spiritualism. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, the living entity naturally awakens. That's the verse we read previously. The truth is there, but we have forgotten it. Through the process of chanting and hearing, we can revive the truth, which is that we are eternal servants of Krishna. The living entity is good by nature because he's part and parcel of the supreme good. But due to material association, he has become conditioned. Now we have to draw forth the goodness through the process of Krishna consciousness. It's just a confirmation. In case you had any doubts, I put a lot of quotes. And nectar of instruction. Krishna consciousness is not artificially imposed upon the heart. It is already there. Okay, everybody, please repeat. It is already there. You are Krishna conscious. It's already there. Oh, where did it go? I can't find it. Well, what did we just read? By the process of hearing and chanting. It starts erupting. When one chants the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the heart is cleansed of all mundane contamination. Wow. You know, I have to reveal one of my book distribution secrets. You want to hear it? It's power user, book distribution power user secret. The way I did the best was I would see that everyone's a devotee. I wouldn't see them as non-devotees. I would see them all as devotees. And it's like, oh, here's a devotee, he just forgot. Here's a devotee, she just forgot. And I would do that, you know, like kind of like, hey, Prabhu, here's a book, you know. Hey, Mataji, I got a book for you. You'll love it. You know, I kind of would like deal with them, at least see them like devotees who just forgot, you know, like a devotee who's got amnesia. And so the books are the cure for your amnesia. Like you already are a devotee. It's not like this is foreign to you. But the more I would see them as devotees, the more books I would distribute. And the more I would think, oh, this person, you ever see someone and you think, oh, they'd never become a devotee, right? Yeah. And if you approach someone and think, hey, he'll never be a devotee, he'll never take a book, usually you're right, they don't. But if you approach them differently, sometimes things change drastically because you're in that mood of seeing them as devotees, just as Prabhupada saw us as devotees. So the power of our vision of seeing others as devotees can actually do something to them, give them open up some dark spot inside and put some light in there or give them some inspiration. So that's it. So that's the key here. Krishna consciousness is not artificially imposed upon the heart. It is already there. Okay. So now it's time for going to the chat. We take our first little break. I don't doubt who's saying this. I don't doubt that my soul is amazing, but my personality, me, this carnation, far from amazing, even according to the astrologer. Look at my Jyotish. Forget the astrologers. Oh my God. Well, it's a good thing, Jyotirmaya, you're not the body that solves all your problems, right? But when you become Krishna conscious, then your Krishna consciousness shines through that dark body and dark consciousness. So then the body is just a vehicle for your Krishna consciousness. So, you know, what he may say may be true materially, but spiritually, not necessarily. Indraduma Swami Maharaj says, we thank you for constantly enlightening us with transcendental knowledge. Where did that come from? Thanks who? We? What, you're channeling Indraduma Swami now? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Where is Maharaj? He's talking to you right now. Or Nadi is channeling all the disciplic succession. What about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Nadi? What's he saying right now? Oh, he's commenting. Thank you, Maharaj. I'm like, I don't know what I am. It's like Krishna is like, if he makes me say something, I say it. And I hope it's the right thing. A few times, some people don't think it's the right thing, but I'm always, it's my nature. I'm always trying to like understand things, like what's the target understanding of this? It's just how my mind works. So that's good. I have that nature, so I try to use it. Whatever nature you have, you try to use. I try to use that nature. I'm always trying to think, what is the truth of the truth behind the truth, and all the truth, and nothing but the, it's just like Then shoot the arrow once you got the target. So if I can do some service for you by using my analytical brain, then that's good. Christy says, you told me once to not forget that eventually we are individual spirit souls regarding the astrologers. That helped me to not fanatically hold on to what I was told. Yeah, I mean, it's just anything's possible by Krishna's mercy. Right? Krishna consciousness is transcendental. You may not be, but potentially. It depends how, transcendental you're not. The less transcendental you are, the more what the astrologer says will be correct. The more transcendental you are, the less it will be correct, at least to some degree. When we add Krishna consciousness to our lives, even the imperfections of personality can be engaged in Krishna service. Yeah. The thing is, we were having some discussions the other day because some people come to Krishna consciousness and they've got I should stop sharing. Some people come to Krishna consciousness and they have some, challenges that could make it difficult for them to be Krishna conscious, right? Past samskaras, past sins, past conditioning, traumas, you know what I'm talking about. Bad astrology, right? So we're sitting down, in the circle to get initiated, right? And the way we did it when I was initiated is Prabhupada would have our beads, and then he'd chant on one person's beads and give them their name and chant. And they'd take their vows and we do one by one. But before we would take our vows, he would chant on our beads for a round, right? So it takes a while to do initiation. He didn't do that for long after I was initiated, but at that time he did. And before he gave us our beads, he didn't say, come up, let me read your palm. And then read it and then take the beads back. No, not you. Next, let me read your palm. Okay, you're okay. Here's your beads. He didn't do that. No, he didn't. Anuradha thought I said he did it. Anuradha's thinking, oh no, I'm going to read her palm and take her beads back. So, sometimes there's discussion of, how much do we need to know about people? And so Prabhupada's mood was give everyone a chance. Anything's possible. I don't want to read your astrology because anything's possible. And Krishna consciousness is transcendental. So he never refused anybody who wanted it. Right? So I think that's a good point, if you're getting psyched out by your astrology. That was not something that Prabhupada was concerned about. But if you look at Prabhupada's letters, there's one thing that is extremely clear, is that the holy name can purify anyone, anything, anyhow, anyway. It's just, and the four regulative principles are so you can chant properly. So with the four principles, 16 rounds, Prabhupada felt anyone could be purified if they could do that. And then nothing material would be a problem for them. And if he didn't think that way, he would have been reading everyone's palm or having them do astrology, getting psychological tests, going through their whole history, which is, not necessarily a bad idea. At least you know what you're up against when you initiate somebody. But he didn't do that. He just, I don't know, someone might say, hey, we should have done that. The ones recommending, we should have done all that. But he never told us to do that. He just, told us to see if they're chanting and following the principles. And they're sincere. So do not underestimate the power of the holy name. If you do, it's an offense to the holy name. then you're underestimating Krishna. You say, I don't, then I hear you saying, I don't underestimate the power of the holy name. I underestimate my power to chant the holy name properly. Okay, I understand. But the point is, if you chant it properly, and you can, with determination you can, then the holy name, it will purify even Jagai and Madhai. Jagai and Madhai are worse. I read a story about one character, he was worse than Jagai and Madhai, and he became a devotee. So you have no competition on the bottom. There are a lot of people lower than you, worse than you, who became devotees. And there's someone even worse than Jagai and Madhai, if you could imagine. So, but like I was saying, you should see yourself as Prabhupada sees you. That we have to see, here's the problem. We like overanalyze ourselves. And in overanalyzing ourselves, we can make the mistake of thinking that we are handicapped spiritually. And if I think I'm handicapped spiritually, then I kind of give up. I become hopeless. So it's really important to see what Prabhupada said about our condition. And this is philosophical, so it's not about you specifically. It's philosophical. And what did he say? He said the holy name is more powerful than any of your conditioning. If you take it properly, that's the key. So, here is the cure for the cancer of Maya, but you have to take it properly. And no one's cancer is so bad that they can't benefit from the holy name. And that's how we are supposed to think. And if we think any other way, then we're not really seeing things through the eye of Shastra, and we're not really seeing things the way Prabhupada saw them. And then that ends up harming ourselves, because we're kind of, you could say, speculating on the very thing that's going to save us, thinking it can't save us, concocting this idea that I'm like a special dark soul. My soul has no light. It's not eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. I'm different. And you say, no, I don't say that. I just say my conditioning. Now, if you knew my conditioning, then you'd understand why I say those things. Okay, I understand you feel that way, but it's not, but that puts a limitation on the power of the process. Like the holy name can purify Jagai and Madhai, but it can't purify you. I don't think so. If you take it properly, the problem is we say these things when we don't take it properly. Because if we don't take it properly, our realization is I'm not becoming purified. Right? So, I'm sick and I don't take the medicine properly, and then I think I'll never get better. And the doctor says, well, how are you taking the medicine? And he finds out you're not taking it right. He goes, well, that's the reason, this medicine will cure you. You're just not taking it right. So you have to take the holy name without offense. I was thinking yesterday, and also today, a question came up. And Krishna Karshani always often brings this up. So many devotees leave Krishna consciousness. And a devotee was saying that Satyananda Swami had given a talk once about this, but he didn't give the answer as to why. I just actually read this morning, maybe an hour and a half ago. I read this. It was in response to a lecture Naranjan Swami gave, and he said, I'm very concerned about how we're so inspired and good at making devotees, but so many don't stay. He said, it really, really concerns me. And then someone said, Satyananda Swami mentioned that figure that Krishna Karshani often mentions. I'm not sure where it comes from, that 10% stay, 90% leave. Another devotee commented, he said, well, actually, leaving may be leaving our vision, not leaving Krishna consciousness. It's not like everybody So it's not as bad as we think, but it could be an organizational issue. But anyway, the question came up and said, well, Satchidananda Swami said so many are leaving, but he didn't say why. And so naturally, we should all be asking this question for our own benefit and for the benefit of others. Why would people leave? So my answer, one of my answers, is always namaparad. Like Krishna Karshani sometimes says, he says she had so many friends, they weren't really happy in Krishna consciousness. And I understand that, but it's like Krishna consciousness is a process. You have to do certain things to be, otherwise you won't be happy. And you have to do them correctly, otherwise you won't be happy. You potentially could be ecstatic, right? But you could potentially be miserable also, right? It's almost like eliminating certain foods that aren't healthy and replacing them with flavored water. It's like, you're not going to be happy. You can't have your veggie burger today. All you can have for dinner is a glass of water with some grape flavoring in it. It's like, it's not going to work. So sometimes our execution of devotional service, it's so bad that we just have like a hint of the flavor. We don't really have much, and it's watered down. And then we've given up all the meal, and then we're saying we're not happy. Any of you have that experience of that flavored water? Yeah, so I mean, but when we're on parikrama, when we go to festivals, lots of sangha, lots of kirtan, lots of prasadam, lots of good association, everybody's very happy, isn't it? Very ecstatic. So Krishna consciousness is ecstatic if you actually do it. Why should I even have to say that? That's so obvious. Mahatma Prabhu, that was the most profound thing I've ever heard you say. Krishna consciousness is ecstatic if you do it. That's like saying veggie burgers are good if you eat them. This veggie burger is really good, but you have to eat it. Otherwise, it's not good until you eat it. Yeah. So some of you have been attending the Japa retreat, and we do a little survey. We ask devotees, how's your chanting going? And the majority we get is okay and not okay. That's where the majority of devotees are in the category of okay or less than okay. Okay means not good. It's okay. How are you doing today? I'm okay. You know what the word in that sense okay means. Well, I didn't get shot today, and I got out of bed, so it's okay. How are your rounds? They're okay. What does okay mean? Well, at least I got them done, and I didn't kill myself while I was chanting japa, so they're okay. If you go through your life with okay rounds, you will not be a super ecstatic bhakta, a SEB, a super ecstatic bhakta. You will not make the SEB club. You just won't. Unless you eat a lot of gulab jamuns. Maybe then you will. But as far as the deeper ecstasy, it's in the process. Okay, now, a lot of devotees have difficulty in Krishna consciousness. And I'm going to tell you one of the two main reasons I see for it. They chant poorly and they don't read Prabhupada's books. And I can honestly say, if I don't read Prabhupada's books and chant poorly, I will also have trouble, even though I'm Mahatma Das, the one and only. Still, I'm the one, but I don't think I'm the only. That's for sure. But if you chant really good rounds and you read at least an hour or two of Prabhupada's books every day and you follow the 4 principles, you'll be one happy camper in Krishna consciousness. And if you get good association, you'll be one ecstatic camper. And if you eat gulab jamuns on top of that, you'll be ecstatic. Yeah. So I think you know what I'm saying. The problem is, it's kind of like you go shopping at the best store. Everyone's like, go shop at this store. You'll be so happy, go there. So you go shop at the store, and you don't buy anything. And then your friend says, how was the store? And you go, it's okay. Didn't you think it was amazing? Yeah. What happened? Well, I didn't have any money. So, what's good at the store? I couldn't buy anything. So no experience. It's actually depressing to go to the store. I bet I shouldn't have gone. I'd be happier if I didn't go. So Krishna consciousness works, but you have to do it properly, right? Good rounds, reading, good association, and good prasadam. No, I mean good kirtan and good prasadam. These things are super important. In inspiring service, worshiping the deity, inspiring association, can't go wrong with all of this. But if you don't get it, that's when you have problems. Of course. Problems are everywhere. Some of you may say, I do that and I still have problems. Okay, less problems, different problems, right? I mean, some of the problems are just like deeply rooted problems, we'll probably have them our whole life. But at least aside from that, we have this blissful Krishna consciousness, which is like, kind of makes us forget our problems a bit, right? So, okay, we have some more comments. Okay. We have lots of comments. Okay, so. Okay, so in response to Jyotirmayi, when we add Krishna consciousness to our lives, even the imperfections of personality can be engaged. Krishna serves, yes. Okay. Tanya says, I was thinking the other day how what we can learn from astrological analysis is just a description of the interactions of the modes of nature. We have to go through this life. Wait. Is that so? Yeah, more or less. Or is there something in our physical and psychological, whoops. Someone call up Zoom and tell them to get their chat together. It's just like, or tell me to get together. I don't know. Something's wrong somewhere with one of us. Or is there something in our physical and psychological nature that is a reflection of the characteristics of spirit? So in a more advanced stage, yeah. Becomes more manifest as you advance. There's a quote that said that a Kanishta Adhikari sees the Shastra through his emotions, and a Madhyama Adhikari sees his emotions through the Shastra, and an Uttama Adhikari, his emotions are Shastra. So yeah, definitely as you advance more. So let's say you understand your astrology is a certain way. How to take it properly is, okay, this is going to be a difficult time, so I better, work harder on this. Or, my marriage karma is such that it's never going to be like Romeo and Juliet. I don't know. Was Romeo and Juliet happy, or was that a tragedy? They weren't happy. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be like Romeo. My marriage karma is going to be like Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. So like, so you know what to expect, right? According to my karma, you're never going to be CEO of a company bigger than Google. So don't worry about it. Your company, you'll be okay. It'll be all right. You'll be able to live, but you'll never, So then, it's just balance your expectations. But on the spiritual plane, then there's so many limitations that don't affect us. The material limitations don't necessarily affect us. Because you get so much empowerment from Prabhupada, right? Like I said, Prabhupada wasn't looking at our astrology to figure us out. Okay, Pishalini says, Vishal Das wanted to find an astrologer in Vrindavan. Without consulting Prabhupada, he found one who was wearing tilak and chanting Hare Krishna. Vishal wanted to get something he had seen. Wanted to get something he had seen other residents in Vrindavan wearing, a charm you wear around your neck that has on it all the mantras of demigods. It was supposed to counteract all the bad influence of the planets. Astrologer sold him one of these necklaces. It sounded very nice. He told Vishal to dip it in Jamuna and to have an arti 12 noon. So after this, Brahmananda noticed Vishal's new ornament. Vishal said, Brahmananda Swami, what's that you have around your neck? When Vishal told him, Brahmananda Swami replied, Prabhupada says we don't have to add anything to this process. At these words, Vishal became disturbed. He thought that Brahmananda was right, and he also felt embarrassed. Why are you wearing this? I guess he's talking to himself. Brahmananda Swami demanded Vishal replied that he would like to talk to Prabhupada. No, Vishal wasn't asking himself why he's wearing it. He was asking Brahmananda, why are you bothering me? I'd like to Prabhupada and asked if he could have an appointment. When Vishal went to see Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada asked him how much he had paid the astrologer and what he had said. Vishal said the astrologer had claimed the charm would ward off the ill effects of the planets. Krishna consciousness is beyond astrology, said Prabhupada. If you surrender to Krishna with a slight kick, Krishna can annihilate 100,000 Rahu planets. So Vishal put aside his astrological necklace and just depended on Prabhupada and Krishna. Soon after, Godbrother showed Vishal a letter he had received from Prabhupada about the same subject matter. Quote, astrology will not save you at the time of death. My Guru Maharaj was a great astrologer and astronomer, but he gave it all up. It is meant for the karmis. We have no interest in such things. Holy Krishna. Well, that ends that discussion. Although, of course, some devotees go to find out the right date to start something. And Prabhupada did follow that, and just to know what's coming over the horizon, what the weather's like. And it's kind of like, what's going to be the weather like, this year? This year, you're going to be a failure. Everything you do is going to fail. Okay. You just, chant Hare Krishna and let it all fail. Next year it'll be better. Christy says, Swat Satchidananda Swami once said that even he was considering to leave KC and perhaps go to another tradition because he felt completely stuck. And that is when he discovered the real power of the holy name and dedicated every bit of his soul to it. Wow. Mm-hmm. Who has the best movement? The one with the holy name. Yes. Krishna Karshini says, chanting the holy name is purifying the heart. So why some devotees, after chanting some time, become worse than before they started to chant? Do you remember? You wrote an article about it. Yeah. The article was called, Are We Becoming Worse? I used to be a nice guy, and then I became a devotee, and now look at me. Everybody hates me, and I hate everybody else. You want to hear something really funny? Krishna Karshna, you'll all like this. We are staying right now. We are staying at my mother-in-law's house. We've been here, we're on our 4th week now. Well, as long as you've seen the red background, that means we're here. So a lot of people in their 70s and 80s from New York, Jewish people, right? And they have a really great life here because they're retired, they're wealthy, so they don't have to worry about money. Wouldn't that be nice if you didn't have to worry about money? You can't even imagine that, can you? Yeah, right. Because you're not Jewish and 80 and from New York. But if you were, you would have to worry about money. Okay, so they don't have to worry about money. They all have nice homes. And everywhere around here looks like Brahmaloka, basically, because there's a crew that works like 12 hours a day, just keeping the place beautiful. So it's like paradise. It's like paradise. You want to see what it's like? Well, it doesn't look so much like paradise if I take you through the window, but you know, I don't know if you can see anything. There's your paradise, right? But there's golf courses everywhere. I mean, if you like golf, it's paradise. Golf courses, tennis courts, swimming pools everywhere. And one of the swimming pools is saltwater, which is pretty nice, right? And it's really big. And there's restaurants. It's like everybody's riding their bike, they're running, they're walking. And it's like they've got no anxiety here. I mean, really, everybody's just like, how's it going? You know, oh, and then the old people play cards. Well, most of them are old. They like playing cards, they like playing lots of golf. And so my wife and I, Krishna Karshna, you should have been here for this. I was telling my wife, we should do a movie that everybody in this place becomes a devotee. And then what happens? You know, and they're like, oh my God, I was dreaming about golf last night. I feel so guilty. You know, I can't play golf anymore. It's like driving me crazy. I don't know what to do. And, you know, and just all the psychosis and neurosis is going, you know, see, I want to go swimming. Is it okay to go swimming in my suit? Or, you know, what's the Krishna consciousness? I mean, I feel so shameful. I don't, you know, and everybody becomes like, we have to open a mental hospital here, you know, once they become devotees. I was thinking we should do a movie like this, and we could send so many good messages. And I was thinking about it, and I was thinking that's exactly what would happen, wouldn't it? We'd create a bunch of like people ready for the mental hospital. I mean, realistic. I wasn't even trying to make it funny. I was just being realistic. I was thinking, what if you become a devotee? Then, you know, it's like, can I play golf? Is it wasting time? You know, am I breaking one of the principles? You know, you know, I like playing golf, but I like playing in the morning because it's cool. But then I don't play golf in the morning. I don't jam my rounds. I have what to do. Oh my God. That actually, after we were joking that way, I started thinking, actually, this is not a joke. This is like, isn't it? This is like pretty serious. So I think one of the things it shows is that trying to become a devotee is like, it's pretty, you know, it's not easy, right? Because it's a very disciplined way of life. And we weren't raised with that high level of discipline, at least not, we may have been raised with discipline, but not giving up that much sense gratification, or maybe giving up too much too fast. And then you know, I think we all understand when you give up sense gratification, you can go crazy and start becoming angry and envious, and you know, just because, and we just have to, Prabhu, I'm so envious. Okay, sit down, open your mouth, gulab jamun. Next one, you know, give you like 12 gulab jamuns, and you're like, I'm so happy now. I'm not envious of anybody. But it's something like that, isn't it? Because even though these qualities may have been there, when you're engaged in the material world and you're getting all the sense gratification you want, it's sort of like you're pacified enough that you don't have to, like, you know, you understand what I'm saying. You don't need to be envious because, you know, it's like, why be envious? I got so much sense gratification to make me forget my miseries. So I think there's a lot to be said about giving up sense gratification and not replacing it with something like, you know, I gave up sense gratification. What did you replace it with? 16 horrible rounds and no reading of Prabhupada's books and Vaishnava Aparad. That's what I replaced it with. So Hare Krishna. Yeah, it doesn't. So it's like, you know, we're having fun here, but this is actually very serious because I think about this a lot. It's like when you enter Krishna consciousness, it's kind of like it's 40 degrees out and you go swimming, but you only get your ankles wet. It's not really going to cool you off. Well, I went swimming and I'm still hot. Well, did you go under the water? No, I just got my ankles wet. Well, that's why. So I do ankles wet japa. I get my ankles wet with Prabhupada's books, one verse. Ankles wet deity worship, ankles wet association. And I'm wondering why I'm going crazy. When all else fails, eat more gulab jamuns. That's all I can say. If you're only going to get your ankles wet, you got to, dive into something. And of course, Prabhupada did that in the beginning, with prasadam. But what you'll notice is that in devotees who are more evolved, they have a great taste for chanting. They have a great taste for hearing Bhagavatam. They just, they're completely satiated in Krishna consciousness. I wrote a song last night. Da-da-da-da. You want to hear about the song? Because it'll explain what I'm explaining. So, as you know, I want to write Shashastakam into verses. And I want to make it good. So then I went on this search. It's like search to listen to the best songs, like the best songs of all time. Like what makes a song really good? Because I don't just want to write a song that's like, this is Shashastakam. It should be a good song, right? Like what makes an arrangement good and like that. Then I came across this song by Sting. And I started listening to it thinking, this is a really nice song. And I started singing in my mind the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam about the signs of Kali Yuga. Because the words he was singing sounded like very similar to symptoms of Kali Yuga. The song's called The Shape of My Heart. So last night I sat down and I wrote, it was just going through my head, by physical attraction, people will wed and you become a Brahmin by putting on a thread, like that. It's just the age of Kali, like that. So it's going through my head, men will think they're beautiful if they wear long hair, right? And if you have money, you're considered, good. Things like that, So lyrics started coming to me, and then last night I thought, okay, I want to sit down, read the verses, organize them. It was quite a because the verses are not organized like systematically. They talk about different things. But they'll talk about marriage, and then business, and then politics, and then health, and then disease, and then how people will think someone's a scholar. It's all over the place. So I had to get the verses and try to combine them as much as I can to talk about like marriage, male, female, and then talk about money, and then it talks about religion. You'll be religious if you have religious symbols around you or on you. And so I sat there doing it and I finished it. And then I just this morning just edited it because it's got to, syllable wise, it's got to work with the music. It was like a total meditation on the symptoms of Kali. Of course, I don't know if you want to meditate on the symptoms of Kali. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Like I go to see a psychiatrist. Why do you want to meditate on the symptoms of Kali? No, but I was actually seeing it as meditation on the Bhagavatam. And so whenever I do, and some of you know, I did the whole rasa dance into a song. I haven't recorded it yet. It will happen someday. But I think I read it once. Yeah. But I wrote that all. It's like total meditation. Like, look at that. I think, look at this. Look what's in the Bhagavatam. Look at the depth of this Rasa Lila. Look at the poetry of it. So there's so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Prabhus, Matajis. I'm trying to be politically correct. Prabhus and Matajis. Or if you don't know what you are, you're something. I don't know how to address you anymore because who knows what's politically correct? It's 2021. I have no idea what's the right way. Ladies and gentlemen, and some people are no longer ladies or gentlemen. They're both. So now what do I do? How do we? It's like getting complicated. I don't mean to offend anyone. I'm just being realistic. It's like you want to address people the way if I call the ladies Prabhu, they're like, don't call me Prabhu. It's like, okay, Mataji. What? And then one lady says, why are you calling me Mataji? Prabhupada called us Prabhu. It's like, I don't know what to do. But there's so much in our culture that you can extract nectar from, much more so than you'd ever get from sense gratification, right? But you have to be able to excavate it, through your own inspiration, whatever it is, like Alina with art, or Krista is learning to do, what kind of dance are you doing now? Not Bharatanatyam, Bharatanatyam. She's actually a dance teacher, and also Anuradha is a ballerina. So now Krista is learning Bharatanatyam. Got to dance, got to do something. You can't stop dancing, right? So, and I was writing songs when I was like 13 years old. So it just, just sometimes I just have to do it. But it's a meditation, it's absorption. And then when I do it, I look at Sting's, it's a Sting song, and I look at his words and I go, nah, this is Bhagavatam. It's way much deeper, right? All right, you want to hear a verse from it? Okay, I'm going to bless you, because you're so fortunate. This is the chorus. Religion, cleanliness, mercy, tolerance, duration of life, strength, memory, truthfulness will all diminish as we live through these days, but this is just the shape of this age. Of course, you can't get it without me singing. Religion, cleanliness, mercy, tolerance, duration of life, strength, memory, truthfulness will all diminish as we live through these days. I don't have to know. Will all diminish. Live through these days, but this is just the shape of the age. But like, look at those words. It's like, come on. It's like, that's Bhagavatam. So I think that's important. And I think, Krishna Karshini, maybe we could have a warning, like a t-shirt, beware, you're giving up sense gratification. There may be side effects. What are the side effects? Like, I end up hating everybody. I end up hating myself. I end up becoming envious of everyone. I end up becoming envious of myself. I mean, it's a fact, and Prabhupada, I mean, like, look at the prisons, they put these guys through austerity and they come out like they're not improving. But when you put them through programs, proper programs, then they improve. There aren't that many proper ones that I've seen, but they're more spiritually oriented programs, then they can improve. So, Prabhupada didn't expect that we would give up sense gratification and not replace it with Krishna consciousness. So, we all lived together. We had the whole morning program. We did everything together. It was pretty hard not to be happy because we were pretty saturated, right? Living in a temple, you get quite saturated. So that's part of the problem. And as we've talked about, another part of the problem is you're trying to run the race too fast. You don't realize how long it is, and then you just poop out and think, I can't finish. But another big problem is, it's so interesting, I've heard devotees say things like, I was so mellow before I became a devotee. After I became a devotee, I became very aggressive. Part of the reason is because he stopped smoking marijuana. That did have an effect. But there's this danger, right? Isn't it? That when you become a devotee, you just like, there's so much to criticize that you didn't even care about before you were a devotee, isn't it? Now you've got temple presidents to criticize, gurus to criticize, GBCs to criticize, regional secretaries to criticize, Sankirtan leaders, temple commanders. You got like, you didn't have all those people to criticize before, isn't it? And now you've got like, and they're all supposed to be perfect. And guess what? They're not. Wow. That's a recipe for like high-end criticism, isn't it? Yes. So, I think there has to be a warning on the label when you move in the ashram, be careful. There's a lot of pitfalls here, right? Isn't it? Christy lives in ashram. She's like, this is like real-time experience for her, right? Yes. And it's all not that bad, of course, but it's good people running into a situation that maybe they're not trained to handle well. So so that's something, that's something we have to reflect on, that we're going to go through this process. And we're like, hey, we have to save the world is going to hell. How can you just stand by? What's wrong with the leaders? Why aren't they doing this? Or why aren't they doing, it's like all this comes up that didn't come up before because we didn't care the world was going to hell. As long as we got our paycheck and went to our parties, we were like, fine, isn't it? But now it's different. So it's something, we need to learn to handle. So the other thing, personally, that I think is that everyone needs to find the proper ashram and the proper varna, because that's where a lot of the madness comes in. I think, I want to be a brahmachari for the next 3,000 years. Yeah. And well, when was the last time you were a brahmachari? Well, I think I gave it up when I was like 9. Yeah, well, good luck. This class ends at 11, then we have japa till 12. Okay. Let me blur it out. You can come in.
Well, actually, my mom needs to get it.
Can we get it at 11 or something? Or tell me what it is.
Let me see.
My wife has to get something behind me, which means she has to make an appearance. So it's a crisis now. We're trying to figure out what to do. You find a service that's inspiring.
I know.
Okay, thank you. You find a service you really like to do, inspiring, that's very, very important. And then you find an ashram that, is like your ashram, not someone else's ashram. So, you got 19-year-old brahmacharis thinking they're going to take sannyas next year. That usually doesn't work so well. Or 20-year-old women thinking, yeah, I'll just be a widow. I'm going to put on white. Then we get all the craziness, right? So, we have to balance our desires with reality. Okay, that's a great desire. When you're like 73, you can do it, but like right now, I don't think so. Not going to work. It'll make you crazy. How do we know that? Because we've seen it. We're not geniuses. We're just telling you history. That's all. Right? This is history. Okay. So why are we running worse than before? But okay, Krishna Karshan, there's another problem, and this is a big one. Are you ready for depression, everyone? I don't want to depress you. This is going to scare you. It's true. If you commit offenses, things get worse. There's Vaishnava aparad, there's Seva aparad, there's Dham aparad, there's Nam aparad. Like you become a devotee, watch out. That's all I can say. Warning signs everywhere you look. You could commit offenses. So, it's not usually a problem unless the offenses are pretty big and the offenses are, pretty serious. Then it can have those kinds of effects that, it becomes counterproductive. So, you have to do things fairly well. But, it's a price you have to pay to get out of the material world. It was like easy to get in here, but it's hard to get out. Right? It's not like you just get out so easily. No. You can't make offenses if you want to get out of here. You have to chant properly. You have to associate properly. You have to study the philosophy. You've got, it's not easy to get a PhD, right? And this is even harder. So I think that's part of it. Okay. So we have from pi. Pi, you asked a question once, and I actually answered it. I think you got the answer. How to choose a guru, right? Is that it? When people say, how do you choose a guru? My first answer is, I don't know. I didn't choose one. One day they called me in the office. This is a true story. I moved in the temple around January 20th or something. And they called me in the office like a month later and said, well, Prabhupada's in LA. You're going to go down and get initiated. I was like, okay. To me, it was like, we need you to go. We were in Berkeley near like, we need you. There's a festival in San Francisco. We need you to go help cook. It's like, okay. We need you to go down to Los Angeles and get initiated. I mean, it was like that. It's like I didn't really know. I mean, I knew it was special, but it was kind of like, okay, it's just on the schedule. You've been a devotee for a month. You go to this festival, a month and a half, you go get initiated. So yeah, I never, how do you choose a girl? I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell you because I didn't. And then I asked the other day in the Russian class, I asked Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, I said, how do you choose a girl? And he started laughing. He goes, I don't know. I didn't choose one because when I joined, they were all chosen for you. But I think you got the answer, right? And if you didn't, let me know. And then I can chastise somebody who was supposed to send you the answer. I think that somebody's Nadia. So we're going to see if she's doing her job. So, but if we are meant to treat every person we meet as a devotee, and I know you were right, how do we handle the more challenging people who just become more challenging when we treat them with love and care? How do we handle them? Probably from a distance. I have been incredibly blessed. Most people around are very accepting and they all support me on this road, even though they might not believe. They might not believe it's their path. My adult daughter has even started studying. Wow. But then, my adult daughter started studying, but then we all have that one friend who just wants to be provocative. Yeah, well, that's the friend. You say, close your eyes and open your mouth. How do you do it? How did you say that? Open your mouth and close your eyes, and I will give you a big surprise. And then you drop in a gulab jamun. That's all you can do. And give him a big hug. And say Hare Krishna and like, no problem. If you don't like what I'm doing, it's like, whatever. Everyone becomes a devotee someday. Oh, that would be a good lyric for that song by Pink Floyd. Everyone becomes a devotee someday. Yeah, I'll have to work on that one next, right? I have, God, I should tell you about this. Yeah. So how do we handle these people with prasadam? There's a song by Mangalananda called The Ones We Love. And this answers your question. So go Google. I think it's called The Ones We Love by Mangalananda. Can somebody find that song and then put it in there? And it's a song about his journey in Krishna consciousness and how his family couldn't understand it. And how, he meets them and they just want to talk about the news and he wants to talk about something deeper, but they're not into it and they think he's weird. And then he talks about how the only thing he could do is give them sweet rice. So you'll like that song. If someone could find it for her. But Ananda says, I remember when he was chanting, disturbing others, devotees, and after stop chanting, starts normal. This is inevitable for me. Not sure what he's referring to. How to understand this properly. When he was chanting, others, you mean someone was disturbing you on the street? Oh, and after we stop chanting, he becomes normal. Yeah. Doesn't Krishna describe that in the Gita? Like, when your name is chanted, the demons will flee and the demigods will rejoice. So that, yeah, someone has got that nature, he's a devotee, but he's just more covered. So he doesn't like to hear the holy name. And when you stop chanting, he calms down. What to do? It's just more covered, that's all. Okay. 20% stay, 80% leave. Prahladananda Swami. Now, we got another figure of Krishna Karshani. One of my godbrothers who left for a long time. He left in 1986. And he said, I'm coming back, don't worry. And they got married, had kids. His kids are just about graduating college now. He made a comment and said, and he was the one who made that comment and said, you think a lot of people leave, but not entirely. They don't all. And even if they're giving up external practice, they're still devotees. Nadia says, what I also experience is that we also have to take care of our material aspects of life. Otherwise, we may end up leaving KC and blaming KC for depriving us. Yeah, some essential things. Yeah, exactly. Which are necessary for our ability to live normally in the world. Yeah. She had that experience. And now, every day, she dances, she sings, she does art. What else do you do, Nadia? Write poetry? Other things she used to like to do. Yeah. Yeah, you have to employ it in Krishna's service. That's the point. I've had discussions like discussions with other devotees who are musicians about this. It's not even a discussion, actually, because we know we can't stop doing music. It's not even like, thinking how to stop doing it. Why should we think how to stop doing it if we can do it for Krishna, right? Okay. Okay, Tanya. Oh yeah, Krishna Krishna. It's true that we are happy during festivals and but the question arises, how to be happy on a daily basis, struggling with problems and living boring life. Stop living a boring life. Read the Bhagavatam. Your life will never be boring again. Chant good rounds. It's not boring. If you get enough nectar, then the rest of life will be tolerable. Anyway, in a sense, it's okay to be bored because just, this life's boring. Take me back to Godhead. Nothing of interest here. Go pick up a newspaper from like 1985 and read it. It'll probably sound like today's paper, right? Isn't it? It's just kind of the same old stuff, recycling. This person died, and then there's this accident, and this war break out, and this politician's fighting this one. It's like, just recycling the same things. Just the date changes and the name changes, isn't it? So, there is a certain level of boredom in this world that you can't, escape unless, you like climbing Mount Everest, for excitement, hand gliding, or do something where you could die riding a wave 100 feet high, that's kind of exciting, but then you're an excitement addict. I think japa is more exciting than that, personally. How could you say that? You never rode 100-foot wave. Yeah, but still. Krishna's more exciting than, he created the ocean, so he must be more exciting. Yeah, so that's the real problem. We're not going deep in the relationship. What would you say makes the main difference between okay and good rounds? Okay rounds is like, thank God they're over. Good rounds is, I want to keep chanting. That's the symptom of it. But how to do it, then you have to come to our japa. If you haven't come to our japa, I'm on japa retreat. We're going to start a new one, I think the end of July. And can someone put the ad for that there? You have to come to that. 50% of your life is wasted if you don't come to that. But that's the symptom of good rounds. You're like, and you're inspired, and you feel very detached. Yeah, that means the rounds are good. So we have questions. What if in this life we don't solve certain issues, psychological ones, even though we maintain good sadhana and chant our rounds? Would that make us come back until you? Yeah, didn't you know when you go back to Godhead, there's a little gate and it says, go this way, psychiatrist's office. And if you're still crazy, they send you back. You didn't know that? You didn't read that? That's in the 13th canto of the Bhagavatam. Yeah. No, you don't have to worry. Crazy, you won't be crazy because when you become Krishna conscious, you're going to leave that material body and you're just going to go as pure spirit soul. And if there's any weird craziness, it'll get sorted out in your when you take birth in Krishna Lila on this planet. So don't worry about it. But the only problem we can say is if that affects you now in becoming a pure devotee, then it's a problem. If you become a pure devotee, then whatever. Okay. There's my article called Worse Now Than Before We Joined. Hare Krishna. That's sad news, worth reading. Yeah. I should have had my own comedy show, right? I could have been rich and famous, and now look at me. Just a bull-headed Hare Krishna. That's the trap of Maya, like if I wasn't a devotee, I probably would have had 3 mansions by now, this and that. Yeah. Yeah, and be totally miserable with all your 3 mansions, right? I've never had any problems with being a woman before I joined the movement. Yeah, right. That's another one, Warn, we should have a big, Christy, maybe you should work on a big warning chart, that we give somebody when they join the movement, and with all these things. And then another one, and read this if you're a woman. Read this if you're, don't know if you're a woman or a man. Read this if you're gay, this is what's going to happen. And this is how to deal with it. We need the last 5 minutes of the class cut out and uploaded all over the internet. This was fire. Yeah, you can do that. Jyotirmaya, you want to do that? The last 5 minutes we just had. I stop with the dancing for now after intense book distribution. Need for it vanished. Oh my God. But I'm ready. No, it didn't vanish. It's just, you don't know, it's still there. But I'm ready and realistic. It could come back. Not it could come back. Who are you trying to fool? It's there. It's just like, hey, if I get sandesh, I don't need gulab jamuns. But when I don't get sandesh, I need gulab jamuns. So, something like that. But I have that experience on book distribution as well. It's like sometimes it's so ecstatic. What to do? Everything else just fades away, insignificant. Okay, Radha Raman says, you mentioned it's important for us to find our varna. However, can we be engaged in a varna that is not in our nature temporarily? The long-term vision, yes, to be situated with an actual varna. Yeah, we have to do that all the time for service. You see, it depends on your attitude, because if you're a very selfless person, then what inspires you is the fact that you can help people more than how you're helping them. So it's like, well, I like to sing. If I can help 10 people by singing, but if I can fly over to England and clean the toilets and help 100 people, then I'll do that. It's kind of, you understand what I'm saying. So, if that's your mood, deeply ingrained, then that will be as inspiring to you as anything. So it depends on your consciousness. But if that's not your mood, you're going to need a service that inspires you. Otherwise, clean the toilets? Who, me? Are you kidding? Don't you know who I am? That's not inspiring. Then, yeah, probably you're going to have trouble doing the needful more than someone else. I've done the needful many times, and I've been inspired doing it. But what I find is that in the long run, I can't maintain inspiration, because like I had, I don't know what happened. I found a book. It was a history of all the philosophies of the world. I got it in a bookstore, and I was like, oh, I'll read this on the way back from India. It's a 13-hour flight, and just going through all the philosophy, right? Then I got a book on business, and I read like the first paragraph, and I was like, this is boring. I couldn't even read it. I was like, this is stupid. You're going to read a whole book on how to advertise? Like, why would you waste your life doing that? Like how to get people to buy something they don't need. This is like, but other people, wow, this is amazing. I love this. I couldn't put this book down, nature, right? So in the long run, If it's not your nature, unless you're very surrendered and very compassionate, you may lose inspiration. And even if you are compassionate and inspired, you may still lose inspiration. Yeah. Okay, so. No, I made I made a voice message, not a video. I made a voice message on how to choose a spiritual master. So did you send that? If you didn't, you're in trouble. The answer on my previous guru person. Thank you. Okay, you're not in trouble now. It's meant that one devotee was very annoying as a devotee. When he left, he became normal. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, but that's for the reasons we had discussed. But we should be able to help such devotees. Okay, Christe, you're going to tell Jyotirmaya what are the 5 minutes. Okay, and so we can end class now. And thank you all for coming. We didn't get very far, but we will continue Wednesday convincing you that you are a pure devotee. We actually have some statements where Prabhupada says, all my disciples are pure devotees. So you are grand disciples, that you're included. And so what do we do now? We stop recording and then we restart a new something. Nadia? We officially end the class. And then we officially begin the japa class. But it still says it's recording on Facebook, so that has to stop, right? Okay. Nadia can't unmute herself. Who's it? How is that? Did you make me the host, co-host? Christy's the host. Oh, I don't. Okay, can you make Nadia something? Co-host. I don't need to be co-host.
Sorry, Gurudev, I had no idea I was the host. 1 second.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Okay, so.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. I'm sorry, my internet connection was horrible, so I had to make Krista the host and
Okay.
join on my phone. Yeah, so we have to stop the broadcasting and then Goramani can start another one.
Okay, so we're going to end this session.
So can you actually? Yes, we need to stop the broadcasting, but since I'm on my phone, I can't do that.
Who knows how to do it? Oh, I'm not on. So what do I do? Or Christy does it?